You want the parents to be miserable, not love each other, but stay for the kids. Do you think that is better for the kids? No, that is not better for the kids.
That's not what the stats show.
I'll make you that argument.
Not what the stats show.
Okay, so
oh, this is about to be good.
Again, the whole thing about, like, you know, women and single moms and stuff, and I can see how it has escalated, but there's a lot of factors to it. You know, you're talking about kids not having fathers and stuff. I can tell you the opposite stories. My own story, the guy doesn't want to be involved in her life, and I'm not going to force him to, right? So there's a lot, and I am actually part of a lot of single moms groups where a lot of these men don't want to be involved in these kids' lives. It's not that women are stopping them, but you know what? Online we hear always, oh, I wanted to see my kid. And the ones that do see them, they see them once a week. If you're saying that women haven't been doing duty, actually women are doing double the duty now. Women go outside, they work, and then they come back home, and then they have the duty to those kids. But men, when they go to work, they come back, they don't do stuff at home.
You can already tell the errors in this young lady's argument, talking about her experiences within certain women's groups as if that's the gold standard, or if that's what the statistics or the data shows, is abhorrent work. You can't come into a debate with all of this odd, anecdotal, I'm yelling, screaming, so therefore it must be right type of arguments. It won't work, and it damn sure ain't gonna work with Andrew Wilson. Because just as you can say that, I can say, well, I've been in men's groups, and these men are restricted from their ex, from interacting with the child, but the ex acts as if he don't want nothing to do with the kid. Man becomes increasingly demoralized, and then the man ends up going his own damn way.
Sorry, in 1 second. Yeah. So they don't do all the same things. Like, we got our rights, we got whatever, but men stopped, they didn't change themselves, that, you know, the physical labor and the whole responsibility of raising a child. You guys don't take that responsibility.
I'll kick it over to Andrew.
These are all excellent arguments you're making against feminism and egalitarianism. You're right. The law used to make it mandatory that men had to take care of their children. Had to. They had to do it, or they went to jail. They had to take care of their wives, or they went to jail. That's what the law used to say they had to do. Now they don't have to. You don't have to take care of your wife now. You just leave. On top of that, wives, they're the ones who are doing the initiation of divorce. And it's not for abuse. The number one reason is irreconcilable differences. He doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy inside, which puts their children at a massive disadvantage in comparison to the rest of society.
I heard somebody say this, I can't remember where or whatever, but it says that a woman will sacrifice her family for her happiness, whereas a man will sacrifice his happiness for his family.
Right. I have a friend right now who divorced her husband and regret it to this day. Her husband remarried, moved to a new city, and she was hurt and upset about it. And I was talking to my wife about it, and I said, what is she upset about? She divorced him. She said, well, she wished she hadn't done that.
Okay, you do have to sacrifice your duties and interests on behalf of your children. You say, oh, men don't help out with the housework. Well, yeah, if you're a stay-at-home mom, that's your job, lady. He does the work. You do the housework. Oh, it's terrible. And by the way, it's a great deal for women to be stay-at-home moms.
Facts.
They only have to do the early maternal years. I have multiple children.
And it gets
way easier as they get older in that department. And most of the time now, you ship your kid off to public school by the time they're 6.
Yeah.
So you don't even have them for 8 hours out of the day. Don't tell me how rough it is on women. Give me a break.
That boy cooking. A woman that is a stay-at-home, let's say if she is a stay-at-home and she complains about doing damn housework, well, then she's just a loser on the job. If you have a business, you have a worker that complains about doing janitorial work and that's what you hired them for, well, then you fire them. The difference is in that in a marriage, you can't just fire them. And if you do not have a prenup, she actually may be more incentivized to break up with you. They'd much rather take care of the child alone because all you do is just make a bigger mess as the man and then collect child support and alimony through the court system, sacrificing the family for her own selfish crack at life. I don't get how people don't get prenups in modern society today, and I especially don't get high-value men that have women that are stay-at-homes who do not get prenups. That makes I don't understand, guy. Quick emergency meeting. I was recently searching for my name online and found way too much personal information, which brought me down this weird rabbit hole of how that could have happened, and found out that there's companies out there called data brokers that will sell your data to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. And it's a nasty, disgusting feeling knowing that there's bad actors out there selling my information, selling your information for profit. But that's why I'm recommending today's sponsor, Aura. Now, I use Aura to automatically remove my information from these sites and keep my information off. But they do other things as well, such as bank fraud and identity theft alerts, VPN access. But guys, utilize my link down in the description box down below for a 14-day trial. At least see if you've been compromised. Privacy is king in this day and age, and you should know if your information is out there. So again, utilize my link, aura.com/MTR, in the description box down below to try 2 weeks free. That's way more than enough time to see if your personal data has been exposed. Go now.
8 seconds.
Okay, so like I say, it's so easy. Why don't men do it? Let's do it.
They
right?
do do it. They do do it.
They do it well when they do it.
There's more single mothers than therere's single fathers. Okay,
By choice. By choice.
Let me finish.
Well, let's give them all each for
Women
60 seconds.
are tired.
Okay, I thought
I
you were asking
literally
me a
know
question.
of women that have been divorced in my area in the last few years that I've lived here. And let me tell you, they're exhausted. They're exhausted from working outside. They're exhausted from taking care of the parent, for the kids, running them around here. And literally, they're tired. That's why you say like, oh, they didn't feel warm and fuzzy anymore. So you want the parents to be miserable, not love each other, but stay for the kids. Do you think that is better?
Imagine
for
being
the
married
kids?
to her.
No,
Yeah.
that is not better for the kids.
That's
And
not
I'll
what the
make you
stats
that
show.
argument. I'll make you that argument.
Not
right
what the
now.
stats show.
And if the woman, the mother is
Finger all in your
miserable in a relationship, if she can't take care of herself, how is she going to take care of the kids? You guys are never there. I have been in, like, literally, you would rather have an abusive family, these people screaming, yelling and screaming in front of kids that they think is better than
10
having
seconds
two
late.
separate houses.
One thing I hear women say all the time, and I think this is a lack of self-awareness from women, is they will say things like, I want my man to be vulnerable. And they think what they want is for their man to unload all the shit that he's going through. But here's the reality. A guy goes through a lot to take care of his family, to protect those he loves, and to be a man. If he unloads that on his woman, he's going to destroy her peace. He's going to destroy the peace of the home. A man has to sacrifice his peace so that he can provide peace for his family. A peace that he'll never know. And that's just the role of being a man that goes out his front door every day to take care of his family. If you start treating your wife or your woman like she's your mother, you want her to wipe your nose, you want her to pick you up and tell you it's going to be all right, she's going to start acting like your mother, and it's going to destroy your relationship. As men, we have to be stoic. We have to hold those cards close to our chest, but the reality is it's really unhealthy for us as men to do that. That's why it's so important that you have a tribe around you, that you have like-minded brothers with you that are going to be in the boat pulling the oars with you, that are going to be guys you can trade war stories with, guys that can tell you when you're being a bitch, or telling you, hey man, we got your back, we're there for you.
The latest episode of Call Her Daddy features a lengthy interview with Oscar-winning actress Charlize Theron, entitled I Don't Need a Man. And in it, Miss Theron explains how she reacts to people criticizing her for being a single mum.
I want to just look at them and just be like, do you know how great it is to live exactly how I want to live, to experience motherhood exactly how I wanted to experience it. And I know the next thing they say is like, well, that's not fair on your kids. Can I tell you something? That will be their story to tell. I can't tell you. I can only tell you that this is the best way that I know how to be a mother to them. And maybe they'll grow up and tell their story, and I will respect that.
Well, she also wanted audiences to know how liberating it is for her children not to have a father.
I love that I don't have to run everything by a guy. I love that I don't have to, well, oh my God, co-parent. I fucking love that I don't have to do any of that stuff. And my children, we joke, listen, I think you can tell, this is how I raise my kids.
Yeah.
Right? We don't hide this shit.
But don't worry, while Charlize doesn't think husband or father is important in life, she hasn't given up on men altogether.
Found this freedom in my 40s where I'm like, oh my God. So I just want to say this in perspective. I've probably had 3 one-night stands in my entire life.
Okay.
But I did just recently a 26-year-old, and it was really amazing. Yes.
Look at
and
this.
I've
It's
never
celebrating.
done that. And I was like, oh, this is great. Okay.
Let me just say that 26-year-old is the luckiest fucking man walking on this goddamn planet. He's walking different today, knowing, oh my God.
He for sure is not, but thank you.
No, he is.
Yo,
Well, yeah, but-
you guys are going to understand why so many children that come out of Hollywood, whether or not they were on screen or they were the children of Hollywood stars, end up coming up so messed up. When you have a parent like that that's been indoctrinated into the economics of Hollyweird and can utilize her money as a cushion to substantiate normalcy as she deals with cope on live podcasts. 50-year-old woman prefers being a single mother, prefers to not have a man anywhere near the children, and guess what? One of the children has been confirmed trans. Coincidence? I doubt it. Let's go.
So it's been viewed by nearly 1 million people so far. Reaction has been divided between those who celebrate Charlize as, quote, a powerful badass, epitome of a strong woman fighting against the evil patriarchy.
Yeah.
And others who, in equally strident language, view the whole episode as yet another example of modern feminist media denigrating the role of men at every given opportunity.
Yeah.
All of which makes it a good starting point for a lively debate. Well, joining me for this battle of the sexes, host of the Crucible podcast, Andrew Wilson, who I could imagine was visibly shuddering as he listened to those clips. Jedediah Byler, who's the host of the Jedediah Byler Show, commentator and author of The Case for Cancel Culture, Ernest Owens, and the editor of the User Mag newsletter, Taylor Lorenz. Well, welcome to all of you. And Jedediah, welcome to you especially because you're making your uncensored debut. We always like debutantes. I'm always astonished.
Thank you very much, Pierce.
Always astonished when people come back for more. But thank God they do. And thank God Andrew Wilson does. Andrew, your thoughts on Charlize Theron? She doesn't need a man. She likes banging 26-year-olds when she feels like it. You don't need fathers in life. You just need a strong, badass woman.
Well, you know, it's really funny. The reason nobody cares really very much when a 40-year-old attractive woman has sex with some random young man is because it's not impressive. It's impressive when men can bang young women because most men can't bang young women, but most older women can bang young men. So it's just not an impressive accomplishment. Of course, these are the same women who will screech because, Leonardo DiCaprio decides that he wants to change up, at 25 years old, any of the broads he has hanging around. But this is not an impressive accomplishment. All a woman needs to do to get laid is go somewhere where there's men and offer it up. It's not the case for men. So it's an unimpressive accomplishment on its face. As to the rest of what she's saying, this is just normal tripe, right? Her kids are the ones who are going to get punished. They're always the ones who get punished. We can look at the data for outcomes on children who are raised in single mother homes. It's not good. It's not good for their mental health. It's not. And by the way, the rates of abuse from having strange men around skyrocket. Terrible idea. And it's exactly the wrong kind of propaganda to be pushing.
All right, Taylor Lorenz, isn't it just a factual reality of life that women are predominantly happier with a man by their side and children are predominantly better off in life with a present father?
I think, listen, children are better off in life when they have a loving household, and not all of those households have fathers. I mean, there are lesbian parents, there are, different types of arrangements. I think it's important for kids to have different figures in their life who they can look up to. I think it's really important to expose kids to all different types of figures, but that doesn't have to be, like a man, a cisgender man that's sitting around all the time. There's plenty of terrible fathers out there too. So, I think it's great that the child is growing up in a loving household, and hopefully, she'll expose the child to lots of different types of...
Yeah, but can you acknowledge, have now been studying this phenomenon of single motherhood for years and years and years, and that the outcomes for children of single mothers tend to be terrible in comparison to the outcomes of children without them? Can you just acknowledge that that is true?
So I think what you're talking about are studies.
I'm asking a question. Don't run from the question.
Yes, like you did the first time.
I want you to acknowledge with a yes or no, then a qualifier. Yes or no, isn't it true that outcomes for children when they're raised by single mothers tend to be worse than those with a mother and a father in the house? Yes or no, then give me your answer.
Get her.
So I'd love to respond if you stop talking over me.
Go ahead.
Anyway, most single mothers are not Charlize Theron with millions and millions and millions of dollars. So when you look at studies like that, a lot of it has to do with the economic opportunities that a lot of single mothers have. Women make less than men as a whole. They're subject to more sexism and discrimination. So it can often be more challenging for them.
So you're agreeing.
So the answer is yes?
No, the answer is Charlize Theron.
It sounds like you just said that the answer is yes. The answer, according to you just now, is yes.
No, any single
And then you just
parent,
make excuses for it. You're like, yes, but
Taylor,
because
this is not
women
going
are
on right
oppressed.
now. This is so weird. You're like shouting
Taylor,
at me.
You know what?
Yeah, no,
It's so weird to have your foot held to the line of a conversation. I say question, you then are supposed to answer the question, but you normally just deflect and answer whatever the hell else that you want to answer. But shout out to Andrew for holding her foot to the line. How are you going to start off talking about that Charlize is an exception due to her wealth, and then talk about the negative implications that other single mothers, the majority of single mothers, would face? That is then adding to Andrew Wilson's point. But you praise the single mother attempting to commercialize the benefits of single motherhood. Being a single mother is not and will never be a flex. I don't care about how many millions of dollars that you have in the bank. Let's go.
Hang on, time out. Let's bring in Jedediah.
Taylor, this is not rocket science. First of all, you lost me at cis male.
Hello.
You just need a guy, just a man, right? We don't need all these terms, these nonsensical, ridiculous terms that, modern leftists have come up with. It's just a man. Children do better when there is a mom and there is a dad. And the reason is that men and women are completely different. They bring very different things to the table, and children need the role model of a mom and a dad, not just people around. Sure, you can have aunts, you can have uncles, you can have friends, but we're talking about the two individuals that are raising children. And let me just ask you this question. Wait, I'm not done yet. You complained that Andrew interrupted you, and now you just interrupted me. I'm not done yet. Charlize Theron, you're right. She is rich. She has a ton of money. But what example do you think she's sending to young women everywhere that this is somehow empowering?
Yeah.
That you should strive, by the way, you should strive to be the single mom because you don't have to deal with a guy. You don't have to answer to a man. Oh, isn't that so wonderful? And guess who'll pay the price? My kid, she even says, my kids can tell their story. How unbelievably selfish of her to say, my children will one day get to tell a story that they had no father because I decided that I just wanted to do this myself. Me, myself, and my money. Is that the message?
I wanted to go hump 26-year-olds.
Lesbian. They shouldn't be able to raise children. You need a man. What about women that raise children?
We're not talking about, Taylor, no one said what should be allowed. I'm not talking about.
Well, tell you what I find strange. What I find strange is I know Charlize a bit when she was dating Sean Penn, and thought she was very nice, but she was always very elegant. If you interviewed her, her whole thing was high-end, elegant, all the highest-end advertising and so on. And then you see her there in this podcast, and she's like effing and blinding, talking about banging 26-year-olds. Very, very different, Ernest, to the Charlize Theron I thought I knew.
Well, it's funny, when she lost the man, all of a sudden she lost the structure. All of a sudden she lost the brand image of a respectable woman. Interesting how that happens. Interesting how a man's influence help keep these emotionally driven beings in the straight and narrow.
I'm not saying it's good, bad, or whatever, but I do wonder if it was a male movie star sitting on a sofa.
He would have got cooked.
Brazenly boasting about banging 26-year-olds. How old is Charlize? 50. If a 50-year-old male star was boasting about banging 26-year-old girls, right? And he was boasting about not needing a woman in his life, not needing a mother, all these kind of things, but in reverse, I don't think you'd be approving of this, Ernest.
Listen, her body, her choice. She could do whatever she want with the old box. But the fact is that is a huge double standard. Leo can't do it, but she can and gets praised for it. Man, I love these Andrew Wilson debates, and we back with another one. All right, now, the young lady that he will be debating goes by the name of Naima. Now, she is a Jubilee debater all-star, widely considered one of the best debaters on their platform. But Andrew Wilson still dismantles her with brutal precision. Let's get active.
Do you think male privilege exists?
Yeah, I mean, in a certain sense,
and is it greater than female privilege?
I think that we all have inherent privileges, and I think it's important to talk about intersectionality when we talk about privilege. Because,
yeah, but what's the question is asking specifically? Do you think that...
Andrew, you don't let me finish my statement.
Because...
You want me to finish the statement because you don't know where I'm going with it?
Yes or no, do men have more privilege in society?
I think some men do, yes. But again, I would think that a disabled man probably has less privilege than a able-bodied woman, depending on what his disability is.
If we were to take all women and put them collective as a group and all men collective as a group, would you say that men are more advantaged or have privileges over women, or that women are privileged and have advantages over men?
Yeah, I would say collectively, men probably have more privileges.
Okay.
Than women.
Okay.
So now we understand exactly what it is that we're arguing. So let
Yes.
me just start with this. What about the draft?
What about the draft?
So how is it that men are privileged over women when men can be drafted and women cannot?
Well, that would be an example of when women have a privilege over men. I don't think the draft should apply to anyone, though. To be
But it
honest, I
does
think the
apply
draft
to men,
I know,
right?
and I don't even think we should have a draft.
But
I think
we do have
that
a
is
draft.
inherently immoral as well.
Yeah, but we do have a draft. We do, descriptively.
I know, and we should.
And how could it be that men, young men especially, can be drafted at the age of 18, 19, 20 years old, be sent to fight wars often on behalf of women who can vote them into those wars, right? How is that a privilege that men have? And what is the, if you had to pick anything that you could point to for women that is on par with that duty that men have, I want to hear what it is.
On par.
I would say
is very
probably
important.
the societal role of the traditional wife and the inability for certain women, or the promotion of an idea that women should not be allowed to work.
Who says that?
Who promotes that women should not be allowed to work?
You do.
No, I don't.
So you think that women should be allowed to work?
Women have always been able to work.
And you think that outside of the home?
Yeah, of course, they've always been able to work outside the home.
Hey, that's great.
What does that have to do with anything?
I mean, part of the whole manosphere and like the promotion of these social norms and social roles.
They
That's where
make
you're
things
wrong.
up.
You see,
Really?
actually, you have the more misogynistic view.
No, but I'm against
You have the more misogynistic view. The truth is that what the manosphere would say is that a lot of them say, no, those women need to work, otherwise they're in a position of privilege being at home. So let me ask you this. Are women in a position
What
of privilege?
manosphere podcaster is
Oh, you hear them say it all the time. Are women in a position
Really?
of privilege?
Candace Owens
Hang
isn't
on,
saying
stop,
that.
stop.
Myron Gaines isn't saying that.
Stop. Yeah, they do. But here's
Andrew
the
Tate is
thing.
not saying
I'll,
that.
I'll demonstrate it for
None
you.
of them are
Are
saying
women in a position of privilege when they're stay-at-home moms?
Oh, hold on. Pause the track. It is so important for you guys to be able to take note how it is that we got here. Now, based off of a simple question on privilege, she began to snake out of that question to the best of her ability. Andrew stood on business and hold her foot to the line and to say yes or no. And she wouldn't even answer that. Now, the reasons that she's doing that is because it's actually a smart reason. She doesn't want to fall into a logical trap later on. So it's kind of this it depends answer that can allow her to wiggle out of a logical or illogical corner. But instead of completely allowing her to do that, Andrew settled on the definition of, by and large, in general, are more men privileged on average than women. And she agreed on that. So boom, they settle on an argument. Andrew's first way to combat the argument is one of the biggies, which is the draft, which puts our bodies at risk while not putting women's bodies at risk, even though women get to vote on political parties that determine what happens to men's bodies. So I'm interested to see where that component of the argument goes. But then also she's bringing in made up definitions of male-centric talking points from content creators. If they can't nail you on what you're saying directly, they will often make it up. Let's go.
No.
Are they in a position of privilege when they're working?
Unless I think that they're in a position of equality or equity. That's the goal.
But so then that would mean, by that logic, they're oppressed by being stay-at-home moms.
Uh-oh.
I think that if they are not using their free will to decide whether or not they're a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, they're a stay-at-home mom.
When do they do that?
Okay.
Are they privileged or not privileged?
Answer.
Is it a privilege to be a stay-at-home mom, or is it not a privilege to be a stay-at-home mom? Or is it a privilege for women to work, or is it not a privilege to work?
I think it depends circumstantially. If a stay-at-home mom is choosing and has her free will to be a stay-at-home mom, and that is an arrangement that she made with her husband, who would also like to do that, then it can be, yes. But if a woman does not have the right to make that choice, and if you are,
when do they not?
Proposing a society in which we follow strict gender rules and societal rules in which
but gender norms show women always working, always having worked.
Yes.
The idea is gender norms, what they don't show is that it's a good idea for women to take their reproductive years and work outside of the home. That's stupid. That makes no sense. Yes, of course.
How do you establish yourself in a career if you actively have a child at home?
You establish yourself in a career after your childbearing years, like everybody else would.
So you have to start work at 40?
Versus having children at 40?
But you don't have. You can do both, though. You can
but
have
here's the
children
thing.
and
This is what's so funny.
Establish a career.
Do you think then that if moms split their attention between their children and their career, that their children are going to get as much attention as they would if the mom didn't have a career?
But why should a mother not have the ability to have a career
for
if
their
she-
children?
Well, then just don't have children. if you
They
don't
would
want
do right. Exactly. This is my point, though. Right? It's like, so why
Dude,
wouldn't
but women
you?
make up 47% of the labor force. Literally millions of women
Yeah.
do this every day.
Yeah, and you know what
They can make the
happens? Our
decision.
birth rate. Do you know what it's at?
It's a lot lower, significantly.
Why?
Because
'Cause they're
women are having
choosing
kids
career.
older. But that's free will. You can't just usurp someone's right to have free will
Do you
because
think-
their job is to have a
So let me
baby.
ask you: is it a negative thing that the birth rate is declining to the point where we can't even sustain our population?
Well, we could if we'd allow immigrants to come in. But
Wait. So you want to replace the population?
no, I'm not a replacement theorist. But at
You
the
want to
Sounds
replace
like
the
it.
population?
Can we go back?
No.
to-
Can you answer the question? If it is the case that our population's massively decreasing, which you just conceded it is, because women are having children older, which you just conceded they are,
Sure.
and you say that's a good thing,
I'm not.
and
saying
then
that's-
say it wouldn't go down if we had immigrants come in. How's that not replacing the population?
I'm not saying.
This is absolutely replacement theory, and this is scary to think feminist-minded women like this, instead of addressing or speaking about the current population decline, they think, well, just have immigrants that have different values, different customs, different culture to just come in here in order to correct the dwindling population. Anything to avoid the discussion of the biological fact of geriatric pregnancy. Let's see if she's going to backpedal out of this one, but it's just like the feminist movement. Plenty of critique, no concrete solutions or answers. But I leave you guys this: if your worldview crumbles under scrutiny, then it was never a solid worldview to begin with. Facts over feelings, logic over labels. Start thinking critically or keep getting exposed like the young lady that we have today in this debate. Shout out to the Whatever Podcast. Shout out to Andrew Wilson. Guys, link down to it down in the description box down below if you want to check out the content, all of the content that's up on there. All right? And if anything, I'll see you soon. Until next time, YouTube, peace.
You don't wanna see me get vexed. Bars on your phone, tell a man you can't jack. The big the ones who can't stretch. Breaking the neck when we in the car next. You don't wanna see me get vexed. Bars on your phone, tell a man you can't jack. The big the ones who can't stretch. Breaking the neck when we in the car next. That bars need defibrillation ASAP. Get boxed with a straight gap. I'm reminded of mind stay